Okay, let's do this again. Welcome to another episode of What Now? Instagram is tripping, so let's see if this works. Welcome everyone to What Now? I hope everyone is doing well, that you're healthy, safe, and sound. We are still in a lockdown, still in a pandemic. If you hear me sniffing, it is not corona, it is hay fever. Even though it's still cold outside over here, the hay fever still tried to get on me, so guess I'm gonna have to deal with that. I got my tissues ready, so don't worry, it's not the Rona as far as I know. On top of that, the United States decided to already put in the daylight savings changes and all of that. So I had to flip it to where the interview is now 8 o'clock over here, my time, instead of 9. So hopefully my audience will tune in and not tune in at the end of this and see that they missed the whole live. But I'm going to have to do this for the next 2 weeks until we're back on the same clock. The States always has to do everything aside from the rest of the world in a different way. Who knows? Anyway, my guest today is probably one of my favorite people nowadays. His name is Nature, and I see the family already tuning in. So you guys already know what the deal is. But I will be asking him the same questions that I'm asking everybody. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I can't believe I have 10 viewers. Let's just wait until Nate. Wait, hold on. Uncle Marv, if that's a question, please put it in the question box there. Just like my pinned comment says. Hey Sam, how you doing? Thanks everyone for tuning in. Nate should be coming in any minute. Oh my gosh, this hay fever is terrible. I opened up a window. I was like, let me get some fresh air, and boom, hay fever is hitting me. It's funny because I do love all the support from everyone, and this is going to be an interesting talk since Nate and I talk pretty much every day. There he goes. Let's not keep everybody waiting any longer and just get him in here and see if he is ready and prepared to be the guest instead of the viewer today. Okay. All is well, Sam. Thank you. Except for this hay fever. Let's see if he's joining me. I hope you found a spot to sit at. How's everybody doing? Let me know how you're doing. If you have any questions for him, please put them in the question box and I'll get to them as soon as I get a chance in this conversation. Come on now, Nate. Where are you at? This is weird. Where is he going? What is happening? What is happening? Thank you so much, Dee. Yes, I love my jacket too. I gotta stay fresh in here. I can't believe this dude is late. I thought I saw him in here. What is going on? Is it my connection? Is it his connection? Who is it? Oh, it says he's unable to join. Yo, what is going on, man? Every day we on this damn thing, this device, this phone, and now you can't get in. Thank you, Uncle Marv. I appreciate that. Yeah, I got my tissues here. Darren, how you doing? I haven't talked to you in a minute. Thanks for tuning in. He's trying to, Mr. Seatbelt. He's trying to fix his seatbelt. Nah, I told him. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. We already on his butt right now, clowning him for being late, but that's okay. Nah, he's in here. He's gonna get in here. There he goes.
Did I do it? Am I there?
You're in here.
Yo, my phone was bugging just now. I was like, yo, what happened?
Of course, when we have a talk, everything is gonna, mess up.
Maybe, it's whack, right? You good?
Yeah, they're blocking us. They're like, y'all talk too much already, so, whatever.
Nah, I'm here. I was like, yo, I tried everything. I'm running around the house trying to do all this other stuff before I get this interview together. And I'm like, yo, I tried everything to make sure, except for my Wi-Fi being correct. And I'm like, I'm in a good spot. Am I good? I'm good. So I think I'm good.
And why is everybody hitting me up right now? See, this hour is so weird for me because I was just telling everybody I had to flip it back an hour because of this time change. And for some reason now everybody wants to hit me up and I'm like, don't bother me because I see the notification get in here. I don't know how to turn that off though. I have to do it for the next one because
What?
I don't want to mess this up.
How to do
Anyway,
what?
Nate, huh?
How to do what?
Oh
What?
no, I just turned the notifications off on my phone because everybody is hitting me up. I keep seeing it through this interview, and I'm bothered by it. So I usually put it on Do Not Disturb, but it still keeps going through. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm just gonna ignore it. But how are you doing?
I'm
Let's just
good.
act like I don't know.
Finally on What Now?
Yeah, it's great to finally have you. For the people that are tuned in, I kind of bonded with Nate for the past few months over Clubhouse. We're part of this great club, and half of our family from the club is in here, so we're just gonna have a conversation as if we don't talk every day already.
All right, all right, that works.
So, as you know, and for everybody that doesn't
Uh,
know,
I like
huh?
your, I like your.
Oh, my outfit?
Yeah,
Well, no shoes though. It's my house shoes.
that's cool.
No, for everybody that's tuning in, because you're bringing in a lot of people that want to know about you and want to see you live. For
Mhm.
those who never seen the What Now series, the What Now series was brought to life during the start of the pandemic. It's basically to motivate and inspire all the creative people because the industry is shut down. So I've been talking to a whole bunch of dope ass people. If you haven't seen any of them, go to my IGTV. You will see about 80 something talks. And today is one of my favorite people in the world today, Mr. Nature. How has the pandemic affected you professionally and personally?
Personally, I mean, it gives me a little bit more time to be around my family. Um, Even though I'm always a family person. It's kind of weird. That's a weird question for me. I mean, professionally, of course, like any other musician, we can't really get out on the road and do a lot of the stuff that we probably would be doing. It gives people a little bit more time to be a little bit more creative as far as sitting in the house and you know, a lot of the times as artists, we try to think outside of the box and try to figure out what's going to be the thing that's going to catch fire. But some of the things that's, you know, more relevant is the things that we all are going through, like being in the house and cooking more and, you know, learning a little bit more about our kids. Like I have daughters that have to deal with virtual learning. So it gets me a little bit more hands-on to, like, you know, the schoolwork and
Right.
enough time for people to get on your nerves too. You know what I mean? Things like that. But it's a little bit of a mixture of both. For me, I guess miss maybe like just being out and about as much. You know what I'm saying? With my
Right.
fellow peers.
Is that the thing you miss most right now?
Um, yes,
Professionally?
yes and no. Pretty much recording as much as as I need to. That slowed down a little bit because of, you know what I mean. At first, you know, I was kind of scared as far as being in the studio. I'm the guy that's
Right.
still wearing the mask in the studio. A lot of guys have gotten comfortable with taking the mask off and doing them in the studio, but I still wear my mask. I want to know how many people's in there. I want to, you know, I'm like really taking precaution when it comes down to that.
Well,
But
that's
yeah,
good. I mean, you still have a family to come home to, so you don't want to like, spread all that stuff. Whether
yeah.
you believe it or not, just don't take any chances, really. Are there any changes that you had to make in your routine as far as like your health? Like a lot of people I spoke to changed their diets because, when they're on the road a lot as artists, they eat unhealthy and now they have more time to eat.
I
Are you
still eat. I'm still unhealthy. I'm still trying to get rid of some of these pandemic pounds that I picked up over the while. You call them pandemic pounds. I picked up some pandemic pounds, but for the most part, I got more into, like, I guess, juicing. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? I got it.
wow.
I've been like drinking juices and stuff like that, like some of the more healthier stuffs. But I still struggle with that. Pandemic or not, I'm outside a lot. Majority of my day is spent outside, so a lot of the times I wind up picking up things that might not be good for me. But I mean, I'll get into it. We'll get into it.
So what are you doing to get rid of the pandemic pounds? Are you like trying to incorporate like gym? Well, I guess gyms are still closed. I don't know, or more exercise at home?
Open. I mean, I need to join the gym. It's for me. It's just all about balancing my time. I want to join the gym. I want to. They got a gym right up the block from me now. I see some of my friends go, but I just haven't gotten around to making the time for it. But I want to go to the gym more, and I eat like less red meats and things like that. So I balance with it. Try to drink a little bit more water, little by little. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not,
drinking water is good.
but yeah, drinking water, fruit. I eat more fruit now and things like that as opposed to some of the junk. So I try to balance it out.
So what are the fruits that you eat or juice?
Grapes, grapefruits, strawberries, kiwis, different things. Oranges.
That's a lot of vitamin C, so that's good.
Yeah.
So do you think that when the world opens up again, I guess you guys are closer to opening up because you told me that the stores and stuff are already open or still open, not as much over here. Do you think that you will be able to maintain I guess, the routine that you found today? Like, especially being an artist, are you're going to plan and do shows again? Like, what is your outlook on, your life when the world opens up again?
Well, I want to do more shows, and like you said before, we got this app. You know what I mean? This Clubhouse app, which allows me to network more so on a daily basis with people that's from all over the world. So hopefully I could strengthen up some relationships, hit the road, some of the places I've never been before, tear the stages down, just meet new people, new culture, new stuff like that. Because we all know hip hop is all around the world, but it's a lot of places that I still haven't been. You know what I'm saying? My
Right.
passport's looking kind of naked nowadays. So I just want to get my stamp game up and just go to different places and stuff like that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people
Trust
out
me,
there.
everyone's
Okay,
passport is naked right now.
my passport is naked. So when I meet people in this Clubhouse app, I meet more people that's letting me know that they are familiar with me. I didn't realize how many people were actually familiar with me. I said it before, but I mean, maybe that's just me, just being me. But I want to go to these places and be me and show them where I come from and what I can
Yeah,
do and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
definitely. I saw my friend Darren ask me about Clubhouse. I'm going to send you an invitation because I got like so many invitations left. So, Darren, don't worry. I'll send you an invitation after this interview so you can
Hey,
join the fun, join the family.
join us, Darren.
Yeah. Darren, by the way, is a dope producer from London. So if you want to, strengthen those networks and relationships, then he's definitely a person that you should know. He's done a lot of stuff for a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people tuned in. I'm excited. So my next question, well, first of all, you're coming to Amsterdam. That's without a doubt. When the world opens up, you and me are going to hang out over here. We're going to get you some shows. So that's definitely something that we're going to look into. We're going to go talk about your career a little bit because obviously this talk is meant for inspiration and motivation, and you've been pretty much inspiring a lot of people all these years. So one of the first questions is, how did your journey start? What was for you the moment where you felt like, hey, I can make this, my career?
Well, I'm from here, just right here. It's
QB.
for me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of artists come from Queensbridge. A lot of if you're familiar with it, it's the largest housing project in Northern America, right? So, but before me, it was so many dope MCs that came to this place, producers. Just we had nothing. So I guess maybe we had pride on where we were from. So we were always uh, rapping, playing ball, doing things like that. So I was fortunate enough to know a lot of people or rub shoulders with a lot of people that were already in the music business. Like my passion for music was always there. It was never for the sole intent to get rich or anything like that. It was things that, can we curse on here?
Yeah, we can.
It was basically like that was the shit that we was doing. Like, you know what I mean? We were learning from so many so many dope people. Like I credit like guys like Marley Marl, right? DJ Marley Marl was one of the hometown heroes, right? He had a show on the radio. You know, this was a time when rap wasn't really on the radio 24/7 like how it is today. You could go on the
Right.
internet and everywhere. So he had a show that was mainly for the weekends. And I was just a young dude that used to just, you know, keep a radio with me. I wanted to hear all the new music and things like that, regardless of whether you were from Queensbridge or not. It was always like interesting to me, right? And I started out by just like changing the words of some people's songs. I wasn't really taking it serious writing songs and doing all of that. But the songs that they were out, I realized that I could change the words and pick up on it really, really fast, right?
Right.
I would do that or whatever, and I was happy with doing that, making my little cassette tapes, you know what I mean, playing it for my friends. But then my friends started making records too. You know what I'm saying? On one side of me in the projects is where Mobb Deep is from, if you know where Havoc and the rest of the another side across the street is where Nas is from, and then, you know, MC Shans, and it was always so many people. Tragedy Gaddafi's, always so many people. So for me, I couldn't escape rapping.
It's so all around you. Yeah.
You had better gotten good at it, or I don't know, go try to be a lawyer or something. And I didn't want to be a lawyer. I wanted to be accepted by my friends. So I didn't. Things were happening. People were establishing little reputations in the hood, and we started making records. And the people that I went to school with knew that I could rap, but nobody else, because we used to be in junior high school, and we used to bang on the tables and be rapping at the table. But if you didn't sit at the table, you wouldn't really know. If you asked me to rap, I wouldn't rap. I wasn't too sure of myself. I lacked the confidence. But I got better at it, and started meeting more and more people. And it wasn't until Nas was talking about making a group called The Firm, right?
Right.
He had already made his first album. He had a little buzz in the game. They were feeling what he was doing, and he decided that he wanted to kind of put some people together, some other friends that I didn't know, and us. So we kind of like got together. We got together with Dr. Dre and you know.
You're going way too fast. You're going way too fast now. Yeah. Let me. Can I do my part,
I thought
please?
You wanted to know how I got introduced to the game, not how I got started. When I got started was, like I said, I was just a young guy in the hood, just trying to do what everybody else was doing.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. And you know, talking about you growing up with everybody around you, I mean, that's kind of like the organic way to get into a certain industry when you're introduced to it by being in that environment that was a breeding ground for hip hop, you know, for rappers and producers. But yeah,
none of my friends and my peers that were doing this at that time, nobody had really made any money from it. So like I said, it was just really solely for the love of music.
Do you feel like you would have done, or you would have become a rapper or an artist if you didn't grow up in that specific area?
Oh, maybe not.
You would have been a lawyer.
Plus, I loved it. I never really pursued it the way that some people were pursuing it.
Yeah.
And when I say that, like, a lot of people were actually making demos and trying to, pass them around so they could get heard or get signed.
Right.
Yeah, but I didn't do none of that stuff. I had one rap that I actually wrote myself, and it was really good. So if you ask me to say a rap, I'm going to say this one rap, and I'm going to hope you like it. But I guess it was good enough for people to say, yo, you need to do more, and stuff like that.
So you were more encouraged by everybody. You were doing it more so for the fun, and because your friends were doing it, and then, people were encouraging you, and you were like, okay, I'm good at this. And then fast forward to, Nas introducing you to, this group he was putting together, The Firm. Was that the moment, the turning point for you where you're like, oh, wow, I'm about to do this?
Yeah, but if you know the history of that group and how I actually landed in there, it was actually by default. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was actually by I was Nas had already started making records, and he had these producers around him. They were called the track masters at the time, right? So we would all just go to the studio. You know what I mean? Nas was the head guy, but for me, it was more so I was rapping on these mixtapes, these local mixtapes at the time. They were DJ Clue mixtapes. I didn't realize how
Right.
far. I didn't realize they was going all around the world. But I was rapping on these DJ Clue tapes, and I was just like going in. Like every time it came to another tape, I want to be one of the first people on this tape. So I would just like make sure my rhymes were better or sharper than everybody else's and things like that. So I was creating a little name for myself in that way. Still not
Right.
really trying to make a record per se or trying to get signed, but I knew that these tapes started circulating, and the more I would like go around, people would say, "Yo, I heard you on this tape. I heard you on this tape." They didn't know what I looked like, but they knew that the name Nature existed on these tapes. So I would go hard on these tapes, go hard on these
They knew
tapes.
your voice, your
Yeah,
lyrics.
yeah. They hear my voice and they know on these rhymes, but they didn't know what I look like. So you know what I mean. Um, when the opportunity presented itself, it was a lot of technical issues with Nas and what he was trying to create with the firm. So when things kind of like took a halt and they kind of like lost one of their members, they lost a member that they was trying to do business with. So they needed somebody that could pick up the pieces at that time. So you know what I mean.
So that was
I was
you.
that was me.
So,
Shout out.
well, again, what was that the jump start for you though?
That was
Because
the
you were
very
rapping on these tapes, and so then suddenly you're kind of like sliding into that slot that was open, and but do you feel like I guess it's the same type of question that I asked earlier about, would you have been a rapper if you didn't grow up in Queens? Do you think you would have been who you are today if it wasn't for that time in the firm, that one album?
I would have. I would have always been me, man. I would have always been me. That was my first time. That wasn't the first time I actually appeared on a record, but that was the first time where the money was behind us. This
Right.
was hype behind us. There were write ups behind it, and the magazines were actually looking forward to a big project. I guess it was at the time it was hip hop's first quote unquote super group.
Super group, yeah.
We weren't necessarily with all individual artists that came together for the purpose of making an album to be in a group.
Yeah.
Like hip hop's first super group, and there was a lot of anticipation on it. But then here I came at the last minute, and a lot of people were still unfamiliar with who I was. So I felt probably the most pressure to perform out of everybody around me. But that's what we do. We perform under pressure. It's really nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was my first time getting with the big dogs, with the Dr. Dre's and the flying over here and leaving the neighborhood now in different places around the world. So I realized it was a really big thing. And it was big for my family to see me actually transition from going from one place to another and stuff
Right.
like that. So
Going big. How was working with Drake? How was that for you? Like, I mean, honestly, I have met so many rappers and producers and big people in the industry, and Dre has been high on my bucket list to meet, and I haven't met him yet. But how was so? That's a question that I personally want to know. How was meeting Dre?
Dre was like, I was kind of like I said, I was under pressure when it came down to perform because these guys were like, Dre was just leaving Death Row. He had just left Death Row and he started off his own label, Aftermath, right? So he had just as much eyes on him as we had on us.
Right.
So they wanted to make sure that he could continue to deliver these hits. He had just finished working with Snoop and Tupac, and we all heard the stories, the Death Row stories. So he started this label, and we decided to do our project on his label. I don't know if it was just that was the way it worked out or whatever. We decided to create this Firm album, and then and at the time, everybody that was on the Firm was on separate labels anyway because they were separate
Right.
individuals. So it was a lot of problems as far as contractually, but we decided to do it on Dre's label. And so when I came in to meet him, he was already a big time producer. He already was the #1 producer coming from Death Row. So I wasn't too sure what he knew what I could do. So anytime I got around him, maybe I wrote a little harder, or I stayed a little longer in the studio, or I just wanted him to be like, yo, talk
You're
about me, or
serious. Yeah.
I want to be a legacy too. Like you just came from these guys. So but Dre was the most professional, still to this day, like producer I've ever been around. Like his ear for creating the music. Um, he was like the orchestra. Like he had come in playing instruments. He had a team around him. You know what I mean? I didn't realize anything about a team at the time because I thought it was only solely Dr. Dre.
Right.
But that's when I got to meet the Scott Storches and the Mailmans and these guys who later on became, famous as well. But
Right.
I just was like, I was in awe to be around him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Word.
That's awesome. Like I'm still waiting for the day. Hopefully I'll get my chance to at least sit down and talk to him for 5 minutes maybe. We'll speak that into existence for me.
Mm-hmm. Dre's a real visionary when it comes down to that stuff, though. I'll shout out to Dre. Word.
I mean, I've seen all the documentaries and stuff on him, so I can only imagine how it is to have a conversation with him. I'm gonna have to bring some real good to the table.
How he made these songs and stuff come to life. Like when you hear the sounds that was produced by like, the Tupacs and I always use Tupac because they were like two of the biggest artists from Death Row. But from a musical standpoint, on the East Coast, and we didn't have nothing like that. You know what I mean? No matter how producers were at the time, they didn't incorporate the funk. They didn't incorporate, the auto tunes and the things way before anything became popular. Then these guys were experimenting with those sounds.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So after the Firm, you released a slew of albums, really, and I don't know how many people that are not necessarily a fan of you actually know this. Are you kind of like, would you have wanted more Firm albums? Would you like to see a follow-up?
Hell yeah. Only for the simple fact that I'm such a true fan of hip hop, and I was a true fan of everything that was around me. Even my peers, as individuals, I was fans of them. I was grateful to be in that position right there. You know what I mean? I felt that I didn't feel like it was so much of a handout, because if the streets weren't recommending me as far as hearing me and knowing what I could do, I don't think I would have been part of that. So it all made sense. I'm from Queensbridge. Nas is from Queensbridge. I didn't really know AZ and Foxy Brown at the time, being that they were from Brooklyn. I would have loved Cormega to have been involved because he was the original part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's one of those names that growing up in Queensbridge that I saw him rap. I knew what he could do. You know what I mean? Being that we had similar paths when it came down to certain things. Like we both were in jail. We both came home to opportunities, but we had the street element around us, and maybe that was the reason why certain things didn't work out the way they worked. But like I said before, we did the Firm thing on Aftermath, and due to the fact that we Aftermath and Nas was on Columbia and everybody was on different labels, their labels told them that they couldn't be on every record of their own project.
Oh wow, yeah.
Contract with us, we're not going to allow you to make all of this money for another label while you still owe us. So their label stepped in and said, hey, you can only be on this amount. You can only be on this amount. You can only be on this amount. And at the time when we did the Firm, I wasn't signed. So if you listen to the Firm album, I appear more than anyone in that album. I filled in all the
You had that freedom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think, I mean, honestly, talking about the business side of this, do you feel like in today's society, you know, with the difference between, you know, labels and independence and all of that, do you think that an album like that would make more sense now, as far as, you know, everybody can do what they want to do on there?
I mean, albums like that always was dope. Like if you listen to you know, nowadays they would call compilation albums, right? Albums with
Right.
different people and things like that. But if you listen to like Dr. Dre's The Chronic album, so many new artists came out
Yeah.
of that. You know what I'm saying? So they were notorious for, and they weren't necessarily groups and all that. You might have got the Dog Pound and from Rage, and all of these people came under this umbrella. So they were always doing that. We and the East Coast
Nah,
wasn't.
I mean more so because they were tied to labels that kind of restricted them. Like, you know, nowadays there's so many people that are releasing independent, so it wouldn't have been a restriction to put out more of those type of albums nowadays.
I mean, right now the rap game is buddy buddy. These young
Yeah.
guys are like doing songs with all these other people. They're flying over left and right. I guess they're just trying to just get everybody else's fan base, but the right artist, it still has to be the right artist. You
Yeah.
know, it's all for people like interacting with each other, but every once in a while you get certain artists that feel like they're speaking to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I felt as coming up. I was a fan of certain artists where I would buy the mixtapes solely. I would buy a mixtape and turn it around to see the track list, and if I seen a certain name, one or two
Right.
names, whole tape just because I want to hear the newest song from this guy or this guy.
Right.
So I didn't realize people were doing that with me. They wanted to hear what I
Yeah.
was doing. So I think today it would still work if it's the right production and the right, you know, thing around it. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't people want to hear? I mean, you know, people were experimenting with things through the '90s and the early 2000s, where you had the Jay-Z's trying to do music with the Kellys at the time, the best of both worlds. It seemed like
Yeah.
guys at the top of their craft, and a lot of people were trying these things. I don't know how many actually stuck with the people, but
Right.
it's a dope idea to mix certain people together. But then again, certain people might not sound good together. Just because they sell good on their own, you put them
Right.
with.
Exactly. Well, I've always said that about, you know, just because a mixtape is dope doesn't mean your album is dope, because those two things are also very different concepts. But that was just me from a journalistic perspective. Do you feel like you're one of those artists that got slung into the world through the firm? Like did that?
Yeah, and
What
that
was
put
the
me on
biggest thing that did for you?
that that put me on a radar globally.
Right.
Locally, it was probably the mixtapes because everybody was lobbying for whether it be DJ Clue, New York City, we had K Slays and all of these
Right.
guys and stuff like that. So I came in with a wave of MCs that are still relevant today, whether
Yeah.
it be the Ox or Fabulous or guys like that. You know what I mean? Cameron, early Cameron. These guys came in and made a name for themselves. So I'm still in that class. Rest in peace, Big Pun,
Right.
guys like that. Like
Right.
I'm still looked upon those came in one of the dopest classes of rappers. So I mean
Right.
I'm fortunate for that. Yeah. But on a global level, you know, to get with Dr. Dre, because he doesn't work with everybody. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah,
has
that's
people
true.
that's probably known. They still have yet to get music from him and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So
And what I
wow.
think is cool is that a lot of my friends from over here are very excited about me talking to you. They're like, these are the my hip hop friends out here that are super excited to see you on this live, because they all know who you are and they've been rocking with you since day one, which is pretty dope. Talking about
And
the business side, um, you know, I asked this question to all the people that I have as a guest. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've made that turned out to be the biggest lessons in this industry? Because we all know how this industry can be. what are some of the things that you learned from it that you now can give out to other people that are, you know, trying something in this business?
Well, you know, the streets and the music business is kind of parallel. It's a lot of similarities with certain things. You know, like I said, I was young and naive at the time. I was impressionable, so I felt that a lot of people were my friends when in fact there weren't too many friends in this business when you
Right.
so yeah, just trying to but I'm a cool guy like that, you know what I mean? I give people opportunity to kind of like play themselves, you know what I'm saying? But there's not too many friends. When you do have somebody that you value their friendship, you know, hold on to it. Um, Business wise, just maybe not rushing into a lot of the things that I rushed into. You know, a lot of the situations I was in, I put myself in was more of a reaction other than an action. I didn't get a
Right.
chance to maybe like my house situation might not have been situated, so I have to jump on these deals and didn't do the best negotiation as possible. It's because, you know, maybe I needed the money at the time, or you know, things like that. But just like reading into these contracts a little bit more,
Yeah.
negotiate bit better. I never had a real manager at the time. You know, I had my man. My man was my
Right.
manager.
The homies.
My approach wasn't as professional as what it should have been when it came to. We were coming from the hood. We were young. I have no regrets in none of this at all. But
No, you learn
look,
from it.
yeah, just looking at it now, you just learn from it and be like, hold up, you know, just because I've known somebody my whole life doesn't mean that they're going to be the best negotiator when it comes down to
Right.
me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just
Yeah,
taking my
some of the things that I've talked about with a lot of guests is, you know, having a team. Is one of, I guess, the most given advice. Like, you know, have a good solid team around you, but not a team of friends necessarily, but people that actually know what that role entails that they're
yeah.
assigned to, and that have the knowledge, or at least want to familiarize themselves with those skills and the knowledge that you need to fulfill that part of the business. Because as an artist, you are a business. You can't
You
just
got to.
put somebody in HR that may be better at I don't know, marketing. So, you know,
But
that's
most people, not even just from in the hood, a lot of people don't understand how music turns into money.
right.
The average person doesn't understand how the music equates into money and things like that. And so coming up, like I said, we didn't have nothing. So some people all they strive for was to have a nice car or a nice chain or
Right.
just to have respect in the community. You know what I'm saying? Going from being the neighborhood knucklehead to becoming the neighborhood celebrity overnight. You know, there's no there's no rule book for this stuff. There's nothing that we can read and say, hey, this is what's going to happen to your life. So everybody's situations were different. Some people were in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Um, this business, and so sometimes the people that you're doing business with, they don't really care about some of the personal aspects of it. They just want to know if you can deliver, can we sell, can we make money, and then if we can't, we might have to part ways. And some people don't really understand those lines of doing business like that.
Yeah.
They
So, you know, obviously back in the day it was different, and you know, the hip hop music industry has become so well, mainstream, I want to say, whereas we all know what it takes to, you know, to run a business. So at this point, the new generation really doesn't have an excuse anymore not to know. But there's always people in any type of industry that have to learn the hard way. We all did. I mean, I made a bunch of mistakes and I'm probably still going to make them, but the trick is to learn from them so it becomes experience instead of a mistake. Um, there are a couple of questions, a couple of bunch. So let me
oh,
see. Okay, let me see if there are some serious questions in here.
my, you know, our guys is probably in there going crazy.
Not really. There's some good questions here. Let me start with Uncle Marv. Nature, will you be starting a new firm group from your clubhouse family? I already know that answer is gonna be no.
No, man. My clubhouse family is legit the way they are. We have other rappers in our clubhouse. I guess we all trying to figure out what our next moves are. We have dope producers on the come up. We got dope PR people. We got people like you. I
You're
think we
right.
cool. I don't think we need to form a group though. Come on, man.
Well, I already know somebody wants to do that remix with you or that song with you that you keep saying no to. But we'll talk about that another time. Uh, More questions. So Uncle Marv, I guess you're gonna have to wait and see and get the talent together to form something.
Hmm.
Um, okay, this other person, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, G like films something. If you had a child that wanted to pursue a music career, would you encourage that? Are your daughters interested in a music career?
Nah, my daughter. I have two daughters. One of my daughter wants to be in forensic scientist. That's
Oh
one of them.
wow, that's awesome.
Another one of my daughters, she's young, so she's still riding this TikTok wave. So she likes to dance and act silly and all of that, but she's never really expressed any interest in actually doing music. She's still trying to, figure out what she wants to do. And if it turns into that, I'll support it. I'll
Okay, that's
support it.
cool. Yeah, I don't see why not, follow your dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a couple of more questions. Dang, everybody got questions for you.
Let's
Jeez.
let's go.
Yeah,
Go,
I'm just trying to.
go.
Okay, so here's a good one from Gino Buckets. How did you pick the name Nature, and what's the story behind the name?
Just writing graffiti. We used to vandalize the elevators. We used to have these markets, these pilot markers. We're when we talk about hip hop, I come from all of the elements of hip hop, of not
Thank
just
you.
rapping. Break dance. I used to write on the walls and stuff like that. So, and I used to write natural on the walls. It's a few elevators that probably had to get painted over because I wrote on it and stuff like that. And when it came down to being a rapper, that was probably one of the hardest things in the world to do because we never really pick our names. We don't pick our birth name. We don't really, but we get to pick our rap name.
Yeah,
So I sat kind of struggled. I was MC this. I was I was Kid Fresh. I was all these
I'm
damn
K
names.
Fresh.
Yeah, Fresh. I was all of these things that I was like, nah, none of these things really let me know that it's me. So
Right.
when I thought nature, I just thought about just something natural, like because I'm not the guy that's gonna be fronting and acting like I'm this and I'm that. It's all natural for me. So nature just kind of stuck. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Don't
dope. Yeah. And I like the fact that you bring in all the elements of hip hop because I actually used to write as well. I got busted and had to like paint the walls and stuff white.
oh, so you
I
know
know.
exactly what that you couldn't escape. You couldn't just be a rapper like back in the days. We were, we would do all that stuff. We were b-boys and b-boys.
Right. Exactly. I used to DJ. I used to dabble in dance, but
Yeah,
okay, let's go
I'm
back
on.
to you.
I messed up a bunch of Mama's records, just scratching the hell out of them and all of that. But we loved hip hop so much, so that's
Um, this is a
uh,
good question from Stacy. Would you work with an artist and make them your protege?
I will work with an artist, but if I'm not in a position to actually take them to the next level, right? Where I came from, artists actually wanted record deals. I don't know how many artists actually want record deals right now, as opposed to just
Oh,
having a.
everybody still.
They still want a record deal.
It's insane. I'm an artist consultant. Everybody wants a record deal, and I keep telling them that it depends on what you want that deal for, because it's not like back in the day anymore where you have to have a label deal in order to get your music out there, because that's pretty much what a label did back in the day. They had the marketing, they had the network, and that's how you got your song out there. But you don't need that anymore. So
As long as I'm still trying to be an artist, that wouldn't work. I would have to be able to solely put my attention into somebody else, and I don't know if that's what I don't know.
You may not want to do it. You can say no to this question.
That's a thing right there. I wouldn't want to. I mean, if the talent is undeniable, at the end of the day, I still would probably need something else to help you get to the next level. So I don't know. You know, I'm not really good with that. But
There's a whole bunch more questions, but I want to ask a few of my own questions.
go ahead.
You pretty much have worked with everybody across the board. Who are some of the people that you still would love to work with? Who are on your bucket list? Producers or singers or rappers?
That's a good question.
You knew this question was coming.
I'm such a fan of music that just because you got some good stuff don't mean that I really want to work with you. I'm
fair.
just a fan of. I don't feel like out of people outside of the genre of hip hop, maybe some of the older R&B singers and stuff like that. But I don't know. I would have to really dwell on that one because I don't really know. I mean, for the most part, people that's inside that's doing rap, I can reach out to you. But
this goes further than hip hop or rap. This is just who would you love to work with at some point in your life. It could be anybody alive though, because I want to speak this into existence like I do with all my guests. But if you don't know, don't worry about it.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't have somebody that I'm secretly will want to see myself working with. I will have to kind of really sit with that one right there. But I'm sure that there's some. You'll probably find out before the rest of the world, and maybe we have to like announce it, like make a big announcement if we could get it done. But
or we could just get it done.
Or just get, you know what I'm saying? Just getting it done. I'm a fan of that too.
Right. Well, there's one person that I do want you to reach out to, and the family in here knows, you know, he made a beat specifically for you, DJ Scratch. So you need to make that happen.
Nah, shout out to DJ Scratch. He definitely came in the room and played a beat that he had for me for a lot of years that he never gave it away. He didn't erase it or do nothing. You know?
Right.
It's definitely dope. Guys like that is like, I'm in awe of guys like that because they stood the test of time. They could have, you know, anybody that kind of like sticks in this game and hangs on. And I think one of the questions we asked him was, when did you realize that you made it?
Yeah.
And I said that it would have been so much earlier on to his career, but it was one defining moment that, you know, when I guess one of the founding fathers of this game kind of gave him his props, he knew that he made it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm just a fan of anybody that's dope and decides to keep it forward, keep going. You know what I mean? It's no set amount of money that I can reach, or it's no certain amount of fans. It's just like every day I'm meeting more people that's genuinely influenced by what I do. Then I know that I'm on the right track. But I mean, I'm a fan for all that.
Do you get a lot of people hitting you up for verses or collaborations? Like we talk about who would you want to work with, but I'm sure you get a lot of messages.
Nah, people, left and right, people still do. There's a lot of guys out there. They use the term OG or legend. I'd be like, come on, man. You know what I mean? But I forget. I didn't realize how many people we influenced. Like I said, this was pre-internet. They were doing it. So these people that could easily sit back right now and punch your name up and listen to your music and study your music and give you props. I mean, I didn't have that. It was different. It was a lot of dope MCs.
You had people on the street. Yeah, and that's it.
Like back in the days, it was like, I know their voices, but if they didn't have promotion behind them, I don't know who these.
That's definitely true. Would you do a feature for me if I was going to record a song?
Yeah, I would do it.
See, now I just had to put you on the spot right here for people. These are my witnesses, and I have it recorded now. Let's take a few more questions. You don't even know if I'm bad or not. I may suck.
I see some of the people in the spot. I see blue hair Dee Dee in the spot. Woo.
I
I
know.
see
I
my
see a
brother.
lot of people on the spot. Thank you,
I see
everybody.
my I see my brother there too. I see a lot of people there. It's too hard to do these interviews and watch the stuff on the side.
Yeah,
I
don't
ain't gonna
watch
front.
it. Don't
I'm
watch it.
tempted to be like, what? But nah.
All your own albums, what is your favorite album? It doesn't have to be necessarily musically, but what was your favorite project to work on?
I did not too long ago. I did a project called Seasons Change. Right. My very first album is called For All Seasons, but I
Right.
did did it as an EP at first. It was a 4-part series for Seasons Change, meaning that there was a spring edition, a summer edition, a fall
Right.
edition, and a winter edition. And if you put all of these album covers together, they have my first album picture was they made like it was like Voltron. They made my first album, but these songs I was really proud of because I got a chance to really like do what I wanted to do.
Right.
You know, I went from being on a major label to being independent and scrambling and just trying to like pick up the pieces a lot of times. But when I did this album, it was really all me really doing what I wanted to do. So I like some of the music on there. And I did a lot of videos for him too. I never did so many videos. I think I did like 7 videos for one project. Like, you know what I'm saying? I never really did that. My first album only had 1 video.
Wow. So what can we expect from you now? What are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm trying to do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm trying to rebrand. Like when you asked me about a second ago, you asked me about artists that I would love to do music
Right.
with, right? And no disrespect to nobody, but I didn't realize over the years that Queensbridge MCs had their own sound. And it's a big brand that I'm attached to outside of myself. I didn't realize it because, you know, Nas, he just won a Grammy. Shout out to the brother Nas. But
Right.
make a lot of music as much as he used to. We lost, rest in peace, Prodigy from Mobb Deep. And there's a lot of MCs out there that's still dope, but they don't get that stream of music coming from my
Mm-hmm.
hood brand. So I didn't realize that I had a sound, that there was a void for our
But
kind of
what you
music.
bring, yeah.
What you know what I'm saying? So I pretty much want to reestablish that brand and that sound. And so what I started doing was I renamed myself and try to rebrand myself under the whole 98 Nate
98
moniker.
Nate.
So people be like, why 98 Nate? Because 98 Nate is like how I started. It's like a whole nostalgic feeling. For those that understood and that was with me back then, they'll kind of understand where I was, how I started off. 98 Nate is really important to me and for what I do. And so I'm going to drop a project under the 98 Nate stuff and a whole bunch of things behind that. So I put out a whole bunch of music in these mixtapes in 98 that weren't necessarily appeared on none of my
Right.
albums. So I'm kind of like trying to recreate some of these songs that the fans always used to ask me about,
And
but they
that's
had
dope.
like or the DJs were talking all over it and messing them up. So I kind of like want to redo them and throw them out for some of these guys that's out there that was with me from day one. So it's like my give back to the game.
That's dope. I think that'll be definitely hot. Do you have a timeline for that, or is it just whenever, you know, because there's a lot
Like
going on in the world?
within the next month.
Oh,
Within the
really?
next Yeah, because a lot of it, like I said, the initial rollout of it is not too much new music. It might be
Right.
new to some people who didn't understand it, but it's like re-recording some of these things, like having my guy replay some of the beats because they
Yeah.
were so. I don't remember half of the people that probably some of these records, or I don't have the contacts, but I have my guy listen to it. I have a few guys that know how to play instruments and have good ear for music. They'll just replay these music and we'll drop it. So look out for 98 Nate. Or
Definitely. So this has been a very serious conversation. People have to know that I believe that if Nature was not a rapper, he could definitely be a comedian. He is so hilarious. uh, if the Clubhouse family knows, this is such a personable guy. Like, if you think he's a hardcore rapper, sure, but then he's also the nicest, most fun guy that I've met in this whole industry, honestly, which is why I said you easily became one of my favorite people, period, outside the industry, in the industry, just in general. I want to
Thank
thank you for this, for taking the time out to talk to me, even though we talk every day. uh, it's it's just crazy to talk to you in a professional setting when we talk in the club every day. So for those who are tuned in, if you do have a Clubhouse account, Nate runs his own room every day. Well, it was 6 days a week, but we're cutting it down to 3 days a week to keep the quality high. It's called Middays with 98 Nate. So get on the club, get in the club, Battle for the Throne Club, and follow us so you can really get a piece of Nate as a person. And it's definitely worth it. We all love him in the club, and he's just family. We're his family, and we learn so much from each other, and we definitely appreciate you providing that space together with Ali, of course. But yeah, I grew very fond of you, and everybody can know this because you're just a great person. Thank you for your positive energy and for your music all these years.
Thank you, Pay. Thank you for the love. You know what I mean? My peoples know what it is. You know what I mean? We try to just create positive spaces. Um, you know, people may say, hey, sometimes you're too humble. You need to pop your collar. You need to do this. But there's a time and place for all of that. I'm just, like I said, this is an app. This is my opportunity of giving back. It would be knowledge, information, or just a piece of myself. For far too many times, there's people out there that's just living in their bubbles and believing their own hype and caught up in their own little world. But when it comes down to me, you know what I mean, I take the time out to try to talk to people, encourage people, don't shoot down people's dreams and shit like that, because you know, I needed somebody that to help me pull me up in the beginning too. So maybe my words might help somebody else, and we might be looking at the next superstar. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
you
no,
never
definitely.
know.
Everybody's words in the club, everybody has the same amount of value. There's nobody above anybody else, and that's what everybody appreciates about you providing the space.
Yeah.
One last thing before you leave. Can
What's
you
up?
give us some life motto or advice that you live by?
I don't have no life motto or words that I live by. Sometimes you might hear me say it in my little clubhouse little speech. You know what I'm saying? I say stuff like, you know, today's the first day of the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Take it serious. You know what I mean? But not too serious where you know,
I was
whatever.
about to say,
Take it
life is too
serious.
serious already.
But still, though, I like to smile. I like to be me. You know what I mean? I'm a jokester at heart. So,
I know this whole conversation is so weird to me because it was so serious. I mean, there were no jokes, nothing. I'm trying to make it light, but you're so serious talking about
if,
your career.
if you was interviewing somebody else, I'll be in the comments like cracking all kind of jokes. But I mean, you know, life is
We can crack
serious.
jokes. You've seen me crack jokes with my guests, so you just refuse to show your joke side in my interview. But it's okay because we're gonna do a follow up at some point. You know.
Definitely. You know, I got to make sure we good though. I want to make sure that you got the questions that you wanted to ask me. Anybody else had any questions that they wanted to ask me?
There's
You
like
know,
10 more million questions in here. Sorry, people, I can't get to all of them. You
man,
send them a DM.
one day we just gonna have to do it outside of the show. We just go live and just take questions and talk to people.
Oh yeah,
Because
or
now
do it on Clubhouse. I don't care. Yeah.
get 3 people in the IG live now, so you know we might have to have a Batman and
No,
Robin or something.
man, no. You know how that goes. That's gonna go all the way left. We're not doing all
All
of
right.
that. I like to be
Cool.
in control of the conversation.
Nah, definitely. Well, shit.
But
I hope that you was able to get everything off. You know what I mean? I talk to you all the time, so I mean, we was cool. I was definitely looking forward to this interview right here. I know it's a big time difference. Over here, it's still 4 o'clock. I know where you're at. It's like 10 o'clock at night.
no, because remember, we're an hour closer now because y'all already did the clock
I,
change. So I can quit early today. But
Dope.
nah,
Dope.
man, I can never get all the questions in when it's great people that I have so much to ask. Still, I can't fit that in an hour. I don't want to do more than an hour because it'll just make for a good follow up, especially since you're gonna
Yeah.
drop new stuff.
I
Um,
see my brother Cannabis in here too. Salute Cannabis.
really, he
Another
in here.
dope
I did an interview with
in here.
him.
Another dope Queens MC. Dope. Yo,
Yep.
Cannabis. I see you, bro. People asking me to spit rhymes and all that in here. This crazy.
Yo, I did an interview with him in 2007 or 8, I want to say. So, yep, I knew him before I knew you. But I
Dope.
love Clubhouse. I love knowing you. And thank you for always co-signing me, you know, in the industry and supporting me as much as I support you. I appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Day.
I will
We
talk
good?
to you later.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yo,
right.
peace, everybody. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thanks,
Right?
guys.
All right, cool.
So people, that was nature. Can you see yourself out because they kind of moved the buttons and stuff?
I'm out of
So
here. See you
I
later.
can't I can't boot people anymore out of my life. Oh, there you goes. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I really love all of you. I love my new family. Yeah, Daz, I'm going to hit you up about this Clubhouse thing and probably introduce you to him as well to do some work together. Also, this Wednesday, I do not have a live because I actually have a masterclass. I'm being a mentor, a guest mentor for Music Academy, Ivy Chanel Music Academy. That is Ivy Chanel, the artist who is the sister of DJ Cash Money. So yeah, I'll be working with her. Next Monday will be the next interview, and I will have our big brother Breakbeat Lou. And that following Wednesday, I got Mike Geronimo. So all of the family is going to come pass by as a guest. So yeah, I still got a lot of people to talk to, a lot of people that will inspire and motivate everyone, and definitely looking forward to hearing what they're all up to because everybody's working on new stuff. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I'll see you guys either in the club or on here. I appreciate all of you. Bye.